Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to today's Lunchtime Concert. Before we go any further, may I just draw your attention to the back of your programmes. Next week, on the 14th of October, we have the last recital in our 24 concert summer series. That's the last recital in this series next week, given by the pianist Lewis Kingsley Peart, and his programme includes works by Sibelius, Grieg and Schubert. Just about recalled that. So that's Sibelius, Grieg and Schubert. Then we have a slight gap. There's about 5 weeks where there won't be a concert on a Tuesday, but do not fear because our winter series gets underway on the 25th of November, and that resumes with an organ recital given by James Thomas. You'll see you've got the details for most of the rest of the winter series concerts on the back there as well. Also on the 13th of December we have Handel's Messiah, which involves the Ipswich Minster Choir and Ipswich Choral Society. We do have some printed tickets available for that from today. They're at the back with Sue Adair, who's sat at the table near where the donations plate is. They are £22 each, and I think we can probably only take cash today, but a card machine will appear at some later date. We are very grateful to all our sponsors who have very generously supported this series and have enabled us to continue offering such great recitalists throughout the year. Sponsorship doesn't quite cover all of our costs, so we do ask if you're able to give generously at the end your donations to ensure that this series can continue from year to year. And we're very grateful to today's anonymous member of the congregation for sponsoring this concert. Lastly, if you have a mobile phone, please could you remember to switch it back on again at the end of the concert, just so that you don't miss any messages for the rest of the working day. But without any further more from me, please would you give a very warm welcome to today's recitalists, Alice Borrett and Alice Borrett.
go down to the seas again, to the lonely sea and the sky. And all I ask is a tall ship and a star to steer her by, with the wheels kick and the wind song and the white sail shaking, and the grey mist on the sea's face, and a grey dawn breaking. I must go down to the seas again, to the call of the running tide. It's a loud call and a clear call that may not be denied. And all I ask is a windy day with the white flags flying, and the flung spray and the blown spume, and the seagulls crying. I must go down to the seas again, to the vagrant gypsy life, to the gulls' way and the whales' way, where the wind's like a whetted knife. And all I ask is a merry yarn from a laughing fellow rover, and quiet sleep and a sweet dream. When the long trick's
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So lovely to see so many of you here today. Thank you very much for coming. Today's concert celebrates the sea. We're almost at Trafalgar Day, and why not? It's also a long way from most things that I do in this church, and in terms of being secular rather than sacred. I grew up in my early teens reading the great works of C.S. Forester and Patrick O'Brian and that life in the sea. My family, definitely not me, but the rest of my family are intricately linked with the sea. I have a brother in the Navy. I had distant uncles and great-grandfathers who were captains doing this, that, and the other in the Navy, in the Merchant Navy. I'm very much a landlubber, but and my daughters will tell you that I'm the worst swimmer in the family, but I love the music nonetheless. Today's music is set mostly poetry by John Masefield. John Masefield, he loved his reading, he loved his books, he loved his study, so much so that his mother said, "Why didn't you go to sea and do something practical?" Which she didn't realize that being at sea can often be very, very quiet in that you have lots of time to fill, which he did by gathering stories, learning about life at the sea, and writing poetry about the sea. I mean, most people, when they're introduced to John Masefield's poetry, is probably through Island Sea Fever that I've just sung with Alice. So he left the Merchant Navy because he didn't quite like life at the sea, but there we go. Today's program is optimistic, it's unashamedly optimistic in nature, but in terms to find some balance, because I don't work for the BBC, so don't worry. To find some balance, Alice and I came across the Macmillan after we had submitted our program to William, but we thought it was too good an opportunity not to sing it, both in the way that it sort of starts a concert off in a different way, and it segues beautifully into Sea Fever. So I do hope you enjoy that. And it's a very tragic tale, as the lassie's true love goes out to fish and doesn't come back, which is very sad. But to raise our spirits, we are going to next sing 3 saltwater ballads by Frederick Keel.
double tots of rum, and there's dancing and fiddling of every kind of sort. It's a fine place for sailormen, is that there not? And I wish as I was there. The wind is never nothing more than just light airs, and no one gets me laying pins, and no one never swears. You're free to loaf and lay around a pipe between your lips, lolling on the forecastle sunny, looking at the ships. And I wish as I was there. Ships of all the world, I've got one anchor down and all sails furled. All the sunken hook and crews and token neck and died, they lay their merry sunny swinging in the tide. And I wish as I was there. Drowned all hook is wooden green with dripping rack. Ships has never faced a port and never came back. Swinging to the blushing tide, dipping to the swell, and crews all singing sunny, beating on the bell. And I wish as I was there. I wish as I was there. Mother Carey, she's the mother of the witches and all them sorts of rips. She's a fine girl to look at, but the hitches, she's a sight too fond of ships. She lives upon an iceberg to the north, and her man, he's Davy Jones, and she combs the hair upon her forehead with torn round sailors' bones. She's the mother of the wreck, and the mother of all big winds as blows. She's up to some devilry or other when it storms or sleets or snows. The noise of her winds are screaming, I'm after a plump young fine brass button beefy ribbed young seaman, so is me and me mate can die. She's a hungry old Rick and a cold for sailor men like me. She gives a many mariners the crew and a long sleep under the sea. She's the blood of many a crow upon her and the bones of many a wreck, and she's barnacles are growing on her and shark's teeth on her neck. Never had no schooling, no read no books like you, but I know it ain't healthy to be fooling with that there gristly too. You're young, you thinks you're Larry, but if you're to make old bones, stay clear, I says, of Mother Carey and that there Davy Jones.
Our next piece is unashamedly a drinking song. There's lots of drinking. Already in the keel you've heard about nutty Spanish ale and red wine. This one's about rum. And it's only good in Christmas cakes in my opinion, but there we go. This song is awesome. It's called Captain Stratton's Fancy and it's by Peter Warlock.
Red wine and some are fond of white, and some are all familiar to delight, to cold delight. But rum along's my tipple and the heart's delight, says the old mate of Henry Morgan. Oh, some are fond of Spanish wines, and some are fond of French, and some will swallow tea and stuff it only for a wrench. But I'm for one Jamaica till I roll beneath the bench, says the old mate of Henry Morgan. But I am for the sugar cane that in Jamaica grows, for it's that makes a body drink to warm my copper nose, says the old mate of Henry Morgan. Oh, some are for the fiddle and a song well sung, and some are all for music for to lint upon the tongue. But mouths are made for tankards and for sucking at the bung, says the old mate of Henry Morgan. Oh, some that's good and godly ones, they hold that it's a sin to troll the jolly bowl around and let the dollar spin. But I'm for toleration and for drinking at the inn, says the old mate of Henry Morgan.
Given the opportunity to give a recital this year, the first thing I really thought I would do is the Songs of the Sea by Stamford, which is our next collection of pieces. Unlike the rest of the programme, this is not poetry by John Masefield, but Henry Newbolt. At their heart is Sir Francis Drake, sort of a maritime messiah of the British Isles, defending us from all evils and the like. The first and the third of the songs are very much calling upon the ghost of Drake to defend us at all costs. And the second and the fourth, Outward Bound and Homeward Bound, this is called the nostalgia, the idea that the sea and travelling at sea is a place of transformation. If you think C.S. Lewis and the Voyage of the Dawn Treader, that idea of growth, and perhaps even in Homeward Bound, this idea of passing from life to the afterlife. There's the idea of the river Styx and all that. The fourth movement in particular is, I think, is our favourite. We would say it's got Johannes Brahms's compositional style at its heart, and it's just absolutely beautiful. And then the set finishes with the Old Superb. Now, this is ridiculous, really, but the Old Superb was a fine ship that set out, I assume from Plymouth or Portsmouth. And after 4 years at sea, it never got refitted at port at all. So it was constantly leaking, the sails were rubbish, the rigging was, fraying at the edges. And it was asked by Nelson to follow Nelson and his fleet across the Atlantic to Martinique, chasing Admiral Villeneuve of the French. And they were trying to get via the Caribbean to the Channel so that Bonaparte's land forces could cross the Channel and invade England. So Nelson harried them across the Atlantic and back again. And when they got back, they got to Trafalgar. And the rest is history, as they say, except for the Old Superb. At that point, they said, "You're so useless and so far behind the rest of the fleet that you're a liability. Go home and get yourself refitted." And so they, having been at sea for 4 years, they missed the Battle of Trafalgar, but Newbolt, in his wisdom, has given them the glory, and they ran the French to earth like all the rest. I'm glad to say we're very much good friends with our European partners now. But nonetheless, it's a fantastic song and a great sing. Thank you very much.
Sleeping there below, slung atween the ramshot in nombre Dios Bay, and dreaming all the while of Plymouth home. Yonder looms the island, yonder looms the ships, with sailor lads a-dancing heel and toe, and the shore lights flashing, and the night time dashing. He sees it also plainly as he saw it long ago. Drake, he was a Devon man and sailed the Devon seas. Captain, art thou sleeping there below? Roving o'er the death hell, he went with heart at ease, and dreaming all the while of Plymouth home. Take my drum to England, hang it on the shore, strike it when the powder's running low. If the bomb sights Devon, I'll quit the port of heaven, and drum them up the Channel as I drummed them long ago. Drake, he's in his hammock, till the great armada's come. Captain, art thou sleeping there below? Slung atween the ramshot, listening for the drum, and dreaming all the while of Plymouth home. Call him on the deep sea, call him up the Sound, call him when you sail to meet the foe. When the old trade's plying and the old flag's flying, they shall find him well and waking clay that made us bare, the land we sowed, the hearth that glowed. Oh, mother, must we bid farewell to Last dawn's the last dawn, and what shall comfort them, the lonely hearts that roam the outer Grey wakes the daybreak, the shivering sails are set. To misty deeps the channel sweeps. Oh, mother, think on us who think Birth home, with love remember yet the sons of exile on the eternal sea. Drake in the North Sea, grimly prowling, treading his near revenge's deck, watched with the sea dogs round him growling, galleons drifting wreck by wreck. Fetter and faith for England's neck, frigate and father, saints and chain, yonder the devil and all go howling. Devon, oh Devon, in wind and rain. Drake at the last of Nom renying, knowing the night that towards him crept, gave to the sea dogs round and crying, this for a sign before he slept. Pride of the West, for Devon hath kept, Devon shall keep on tide or main, fall to the storm and drive them flying. Devon, oh Devon, in wind and rain. Fender of England, gaunt and whitening, far in the south and brought to bay, locked in a death grip all day tightening, waited at hand for twilight grey. Battle and storm and the sea dog's way, Drake from his long rest turned again, victory lit thy steel with lightning. Devon, oh Devon, in wind and rain. sparkling sky was blue, the straits before us open wide and free. We looked towards the Admiral, high the Peter flew, and all our hearts were dancing like a sea. The French have gone to Martinique with 24 sail, but the old Superb is old and foul and slow. But the French have gone to Martinique, and Nelson's on his trail, and where he goes, the old Superb must go. So westward, oh, for Trinidad, and eastward, oh, for Spain, and ship ahoy 100 times a day. Round the world if need be, and round the world again, with the lame duck lagging, lagging all the way. The old Superb is barnacled and green as grass below, as decks were only fit for stirring grog. The pride of all the midshipmen was silent long ago, and long ago they ceased to heave the log. 4 year out from port he was with ne'er a week in port, and nothing on her save the ports her right. But Captain Keats he knew the game and swore he'd share the sport, for he never yet came in too late to fight. So westward, oh, for Trinidad, and eastward, oh, for Spain, and ship ahoy 100 times a day. Round the world if need be, and round the world again, with the lame duck lagging, lagging all the way. Now up, my lads, the captain cried, for sure their case was hard, if longest out were first to fall behind. Aloft with starting sails and slashed them to the yard, for night and day they prayed, so driving blind. So all day long behind the fleet we crept, and how we fretted none but Nelson guessed. But every night the old Superb she sailed when others slept, till we ran the French to earth with all the rest. Oh, 'twas westward, oh, for Trinidad, and eastward, oh, for Spain, and ship ahoy 100 times a day. Round the world if need be, and round the world again, round the world again, with a lame duck, a lagging, lagging, lagging all the way.
We do have one final piece, if you would like to hear it. It has nothing to do with the sea. It is called Let Beauty Awake, and it's the second movement from Vaughan Williams' Vagabond. The only connection we can find is that the beginning of the piano part sounds like a wave, but there we go. Okay, thank you very much.
Beauty awake from the